welcome. We talk about success, God-driven success, and how being a believer is an unfair advantage to everyone who is operating in their career, in their business, in any aspect of life. Because the maker of the universe, God himself, supports you. He has given us the ability to hear him, to follow his instructions, and how can we lose? Surprisingly, most Christians don't do so well in areas like career, business, relationships, all areas really, because we do not understand how God's laws and his commands now translate to these aspects of our lives. For me, I spent a lot of time having a spiritual life that was separate from my career, from my business, from my normal social life. I just felt like that made sense. So there was the spiritual things. I would pray, I would fast and do all these things. And then there was the practical things. This is just me hustling and making things happen. When you separate life like that, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because how can you serve God and you put him in a box? That's just you underutilizing or not even using your advantage. So if you're here, you have to know that we understand. We understand that God has made us here, has put us here, and has not put us here to suffer, to just go through life in pain and just endure till heaven. No, we're here to make an impact, to dominate, just like he said in Genesis. So we're going to be fruitful, we're going to dominate, and we're not just going to do that by laying down, just coming before him and saying, okay, we worship you. No, we're going to do that. We're going to worship him. We're going to put him first. We're going to pray. We're going to fast. But we're going to move from there empowered for the success that he has called us to. So in your different fields, in your career, in your business, in your relationships, God will be glorified because you have the wisdom. You have received the empowerment in your private time, in your prayer time, the empowerment to do well in these areas. And we do that by reading the book of Proverbs. We can do that by reading the Bible, honestly. But I love the book of Proverbs because it just breaks down success. There's not much, it's just clear. You don't have to sit there and say, I don't understand. When he says a lazy person will be poor and a diligent person will prosper, what does it mean? What does it really mean? It is what it is. It says it and calls names, calls laziness, calls out foolishness, calls out lack of vision, lack of guidance, lack of mentorship as issues that cause poverty. And so for a child of God, you don't have to sit down and say, how do I figure things out? How do I manage? Just get this playbook, get this cheat code, follow it, and let God be glorified as you succeed in every aspect of your life. And today we're doing Proverbs 10. Proverbs 10 says has amazing nuggets. There's a lot of powerful nuggets in this book. And as I was going through it, I was like, how do you share in a short video everything that is put here? The theme that I see in Proverbs 10 for me is righteousness. God values righteousness. And every time I think of righteousness, I think of purity and being set apart. I don't see how righteousness translates to work, how it translates to business, how it translates to relationships, to you going to the store, to you connecting with people, where you volunteer and what you do. I would hardly see that. But you see that God is banging that point. Righteousness, the righteous will prosper, the righteous will be established, the righteous will have riches, the righteous will have all this. So you see that for God, righteousness is not something that is just a spiritual concept. It is a guiding principle for living. And so for success, if you're talking about success with God, then you have to know righteousness is on top there. It is essential. And righteousness as a guiding principle is just a way of life. It's values. It's you choosing to align with God. That means, first of all, you know God's standards and God's principles, and you live in alignment with them. Whatever God says yes to, you say yes to. Whatever he says no to, you say no to. If you don't know, you don't know. But when you come across something and you understand, oh, I just read this scripture. I just read Proverbs 10, so I can't quite quit. I can't quite quit. Because Proverbs 10, verse 4 says the diligent prosper. And you're like, quite quitting is not diligence. So what do? Now you have to shift and be in alignment. That is righteousness. You know the principles and the standards of God, and you're just getting in alignment with them. That is that simple. So God says, if you are a person who is righteous in what you do, prosperity is just going to be a thing for you. It's not going to be complicated. And so from the scripture there, from Proverbs 10, I'm just going to share a few things that make it practical for us. What does righteousness look like? Especially in your career, in your business, in whatever you do to earn your living. What does righteousness look like? Okay, because most of the times, honestly, we talk righteousness and we're already gone to fasting, being on mountains and praying and all that. But it means choosing right. choosing beyond the convenient and the profitable. So whatever you're doing, sometimes you can just choose a job, choose a career, choose a business, make a deal just because it's convenient. It's profitable. But righteousness is that you will choose right. That means you are honest, you're fair, you're accountable, you treat others with respect. All these things are just the fruit of the Spirit. You see the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, patience, kindness, faithfulness, self-control. I forgot some there, but you know the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians. And the fruit of the Spirit shows in how you operate. As you spend more time with God, as you spend time in His Word, you start to operate in a different space, in a different way. You start to be kind, you start to be understanding, you start to be patient, you start to have diligence, to have self-control, and that bears fruit in your career, in your business. Now, if you going to attain success God's way, then you have to then embrace righteousness. And righteousness, first of all, is going to look like integrity. You're going to have integrity, and integrity builds trust. Integrity allows people to know that you are what you say you do, what you say you do, and that just builds trust. If you have an integral person in your office, in business, that person is going to prosper soon, because people are going to realize that if you want the real thing, you go to this person. If you're shifty, you say one thing and you do another, people don't trust you, and then your relationships will suffer, your career will suffer, your business will also suffer. So Proverbs also says that the treasures of the wicked don't last. They're just for a short while. And that's true, because sometimes we get caught up in the shortcuts that come in life, because we're thinking, oh, there's profit there. But it says the treasures of the wicked don't last. The profit that you get in any other way other than the righteous way won't last. So they will have a consequence later, and you will regret it, and you have built on a wrong foundation, and you have to redo things. So Proverbs verse 9 there. Just gonna go there. Verse 9 says, he who walks with integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his way will become known. It says, if you walk with integrity, you walk securely. If you are a wicked person, you're not integral, it will become known. People will know. You might be tricking. And I used to have this situation at work. Let me finish the sentence. You might trick other people. You might be tricking to other people who don't know you when you are new to a place. But eventually people will find out. I used to have kind of colleagues like that in the past, where you're working with them and you're like, this person doesn't deliver what they say. They speak the right things, they overpromise and everything, but no. So every new boss who would come would love them, but it was just in a matter of time the boss would realize this person is just full of words and no substance, and they would just abandon them. So that is integrity, and integrity is important if you're a person who is righteous. You're a person who desires to do right. You know God's principles and you want to live according to God's principles. Yeah. The next thing is diligence. God does not like laziness. He doesn't tolerate it. You see that in Proverbs as well, where he highlights that if you're lazy, you will not eat. You will suffer. You are just asking for poverty. And he says customized poverty will find you. Customized lack will find you. And sometimes you're just hardworking in one area of your life, but not in other areas. That is still laziness. If you can't take care of your health, but you can take care of your business, you can take care of your relationships, but you can take care of your career, it's still laziness. You need to be able to operate the same way across all different aspects of your life. You can be, again, that talks about integrity, doesn't it? You are diligent in one area and not in another. You have to be diligent, because diligence is the cheat code to success. God says in Proverbs 10:4, the diligent will prosper, and the poor, the ones who are lazy will be poor. And then he says also that those people who are lazy are like vinegar to the teeth of whoever sends them. So your employer, you will be annoying, heavily annoying to them if you're not diligent. And that just won't lead to any form of success, honestly. And then the next thing is wise speech. If you are a person who's righteous, you will speak wisely. You will guard what you say. You will be a person who listens more than you speak. And it says in Proverbs, in verse 19, Proverbs 10:19, in the multitude of words, where you are speaking a lot, sin is not absent. Sin finds room there. So being a person who has less to say is powerful. And even in a place where you are in an argument or something, just being quiet before you speak allows you to control the pace of that argument, allows you to calm it down, allows you to find credibility in how you're speaking. Yeah, so having wise words allows you to build having wise words allows you to build connections with the right people. You build credibility, influence, and that is essential for success. So as Christians, we sometimes just hope for miraculous success, but our attitude is terrible. How we speak is terrible. We don't know how to speak well. We speak harshly, and that will not yield to success. Because God is not about giving you mysterious success. He's about working with you, transforming you so that you can breed the success that you desire. Right? So when I say, oh, God desires for you to prosper, to succeed, I'm not saying that you just pray and ask for it and it happens to you. I'm saying he will reveal it to you. So you pray and you have an idea. You pray and you find a connection. You'll be given tests. Yeah, tests are different from temptations. The devil tempts you, and temptations are designed to destroy. Tests are designed to sharpen you, right? So when you pass a test, you graduate to a different level. That is growth. When you fail a temptation, you are destroyed, you lose. And there's nothing to learn from there other than that you shouldn't be tempted again. So God tests you. When you ask for something, when you ask for success, God will put a test before you. Yeah, so you see something like be diligent and you have a test to pass that proves that you're diligent. There'll be like be integral, be a person who has integrity. There'll be a test that will come to test your integrity. So why speech is that important thing? Because speech heals, speech connects, speech it reveals what is within you. And if you're a person who's able to just control your speech, to just pause, and if you have something to say and you're very passionate at that moment, hold it. Give it time, because you won't regret what you don't say. But what you say, you can't take back. So you'd rather not just speak anyhow. The next thing that righteousness brings is stability and resilience. The Bible is clear to say that a person who is righteous is going to be established in the land. You have a foundation that is God himself. You're building your life on values, on principles of God. That is as established as you can be. So if you're building your business based on a connection, let's say you have a minister who is your uncle, or you went to school together with that minister, and now you're building a business because of that. Now you're getting deals because of that. When the government changes, you're in trouble. If you have a career because you're friends with the CEO or whoever, and the CEO position changes or he's no longer there, you're in trouble. You see? So when you are building on God, he is unchanging. You become confident because you're building on a lasting foundation. So righteousness allows you to know that in this life, you have God, and he's your source, and he's in charge. And you operate knowing that. You treat people knowing that. You connect knowing that. So it brings resilience, it brings stability in how you do things. The last thing is humility. Humility allows you to learn from people. And that is essential. Because even if you are inexperienced in your role, if you have people who can coach you through it, people who can support you, that is going to be a game changer. But imagine you're in this role. There are people placed by God to support you and you feel threatened by them. Or you want to pose to them that you know everything. So you can't learn. You're going to fall. You're going to fail. Right? So humility allows you to admit that something is wrong. And I have noticed that in this first world where I'm living now, people are open about their weaknesses. They're open about what they can't do because they know they can learn it and then they can do the thing. Rather than where I'm coming from, we used to have this thing where you have to pose. Like if you're the boss in that area, you don't show any weakness. You don't show like you don't know. So you pretend. But in the end, that means after a year, you still don't know. Right? So humility allows you to connect with people, allows you to be able to learn from people, to build teams that help you, to build connections that help you, because you're a person who can learn from others in spite of age, differences, and stuff like that. So all these things are practical things, but they are rooted in righteousness. And this is why God says, if you are righteous, you'll prosper. And so before we go, I'll just tell you the verses that jump to me, because if you go through Proverbs 10, you find that there are different themes of wisdom, righteousness, diligence, your words. Yeah, so I was like, let me just pick two verses that I think for me are fire, right? All of it is fire, but this one's Proverbs 4. He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of a diligent makes rich. It speaks to me about the importance of diligence. Just because you have God on your side doesn't mean you get to be lazy. There's so many stories in the Bible that had people who God told you have victory, but he still required them to go to battle. They would still show up to the battle, and he says, I'll show you how you win, but you dress up, you come to battle. So you dress up, you stand there, and you see God fight for you. You're not allowed to just be in your tent and just sleep and say, God has said we have won the battle. No. It's the same with us today. Just because God is on our side, just because we're highly favored, doesn't mean things just flow. We have to get engaged. We have to use our brains. We have to use our minds. We have to transform and act differently. Make choices. And when we make mistakes, own those mistakes and change. You see? Another verse that speaks to me. So diligence for me was something that for me was important. I was like, okay, all right, I'm saved. Jesus loves me. God has paid a price for me. But I have to do the work. I have to do the work. And it's comforting to know that I'm not doing the work to get favor, or I'm not doing the work to just like, oh, I have to do it. No, I'm doing the work empowered by God. If I'm failing to do the work, I come back to him and say, this is hard for me. Would you help me? And he helps you, but you have to be willing to do the work. Another verse that sticks with me is 19. In the multitude of words, sin is not lacking, but he who restrains his lips is wise. restraining your lips. The people you love probably said some things to you. The people you don't like said something to you. The people you remember said something to you. The people you forget said something to you or didn't say anything. So it's important to understand the power of words. What you say, you can't take back. It doesn't matter how saved you are. If you have said something wrong, you can apologize, but it's gone. So your ability to restrain your words is what Jesus called, the Bible called true religion. True religion is your ability to speak. True faith is your ability to withhold your tongue, which is really powerful. So if you're righteous, if you're a person who's seeking success God's way, then you have to know that holding your tongue, being able to speak the right things, being able to listen more than you speak is going to come in handy, right? So practical things I said, go through Proverbs, please. Read Proverbs 10. Pick 2 verses that to you are like, this is fire, flames. I need to apply this to my life. And then share them. Share them below. Share them in the comments. Share them with your loved ones. Remember them. Write them somewhere to remind yourself so that when a temptation comes, a test comes, you'll be able to stand. Right? Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.